Today it's still going on. I went to go meet someone, and on the way up there, because I have to go to the bathroom all the time from being tortured, I went to use the bathroom, and all these people are swarming me. So I start giving them different statements from the 12/21/18 of the neck and the chipping. I give them the gunshot night, and then leading up to the rape and torture. I instantly got sick. I had to pull over and use the restroom. I instantly got sick. It just ridiculous of how not funny this is. You know, there was so many different scenarios for them to hurt me and for people to participate. I'll tell you what, I used to work at Wood Forest, and where those undercover officers were in the back of CSC, they wouldn't have gotten the back of Wood Forest. Because the time that a cop would have showed a badge that he wanted the back of the bank, I would have called a district and a regional. And they would ask him, what the hell do you want the back of our bank for? Do you have a search warrant? And they would have gotten the back. Where the CSE bank let them in the back to watch me, and I know they probably use the status of, well, we're here to watch her, she's an informant. Honestly, do you know, Wood Forest would have said you sit out front then. And they had their own cops with guns. Something happens, we'll take care of it. They wouldn't have lied with Wood Forest. It wouldn't have lied at all. And I'll tell you what, not even a little bit. Do you know that cop that was in the back, he was the one that said that he went to Dave. He was also the one that was at Liberty House Share June of 19. The worst thing you ever did wrong, honey, is you bent over him properly. We can wipe that one out. Because she changed it from the back of my knees to my tushy in the wrong nightgown. One of the mean games of pretend. All the kids were caught stating they lied in 2018. Okay. And I was found innocent because they wanted Auntie Shell to get the house. Retired Judge Pete's daughter. That like one investigator said, trust me, we were never interested in you. And another one said, it's stupid, she knows nothing. And I'm like, what? You went, never mind. And somebody mentioned Michelle, and then it's like, trust me, I'm no longer interested. But I'll tell you what, that main cop that was in a lot of this, he did not know of the shower scene. He did not know about the drug confessions before. And the alter tapes. See what I mean? It's just the few rogue one. Do you realize I was looking up different things about breaking in people's homes and watching them? Not only is it considered stalking, breaking in, burglary with intent to harm, drugs, kidnapping, and attempt at extortion under framing to cover up premeditated attempt to murder. And they run around. One of the scenarios was they were running an experiment on me because they said I lied about this. There was nothing I was lying about. You can't just write an experiment. They were making up scenarios to cover up what they were doing. You can't just run an experiment on somebody. And yeah, you can't do that. And I wasn't lying. And I'll tell you what, the more I think about Will and the way they describe him, he had been like one of the stupidest men on earth. We all know it was undercover police in the courthouse because everybody even says that it was undercover police. And they even said they were agents from the agency station in the courthouse, and they were FBI. They weren't FBI. They even described themselves that way. And you watched them walk in and out of the courthouse, and even the older guy with the white hair, gray or white with gray hair and dandruff. I'll tell the boys to look into that. He knew the boys were involved. Okay, and because they sold the login, everybody knows. And when Will called, he called the wrong police station. He should have called the Portage County Sheriff's. I lived in Pomera Township, 10 miles out of town. Okay. And he called the courthouse. Do you realize how much they must have laughed at him? Here, they're already stalking me in my home, breaking in, burglary. Okay. That's when you break in, you intend to harm someone. Okay. And they have already committed kidnapping, drugs, and framing. He didn't know anything. And then where that guy said that the undercover police called Will and told him I was lying. So he didn't watch one house tape. He sounds stupider and stupider the way people describe him. And do you realize how big a laugh they had to have at his expense to fall for that? Here, when I told you the story of how Dave held me down and how the phone call I didn't hang up, and then realizing the attempted kidnapping, attempted carjacking, threatened to knife me guy was at Giant Eagle. The other guy was water shaming me at Wood Forest. The girl and her boyfriend were harassing me, and then realizing that even the attempt to break into the following rounding, it was all them, and how stupid was I not to put it together. And then leaving threats in the mall. Well, it wasn't just with Sarah. Sarah had her other manager just resigned and went to work with Katie. She's blonde, she had a bigger chest, and a dark hair girl, same thing. And they were over there working with them. That's how they all got to talking, because they go out to eat and out for coffee. Well, it wasn't just Sarah she was threatening my life with. She was threatening it to Sarah and those other two girls. And they would come up and say stuff to me where, Dave said his girlfriend was rich and powerful and her family owned the police. I wouldn't be able to withstand. And I told him it's not a communist country. So I called the FBI, and they kept me drugged up so bad I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. And then I went up to, I went out and mowed the lawn and get air in my face. Called Sarah, asked her if she'd witness for me. She said, of course, she was scared for me. And I put Will's number in a card, and we went out to the mall. We went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. And Paul Paymer, the minister, got in his Dave's face, my God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off and sit down. Dave comes in, and he's staring at me. No, more likely he's just a neighbor. The guy that impersonated a federal officer, because I lived at 4490 John Thomas, and he was seen in the picture window. In the next house is a duplex. There's an old lady towards our house and a group of men on the other side. He was seen in the picture window. He may even be on the lease. If not, they know who he is. It's that bad. He's probably just a neighbor impersonating a federal officer. But there was never staying quiet. They told on me they impersonate a federal officer, make him look like they're helping, that the FBI is helping them. Once they got Will out, where February 25th, 22 at McDonald's on Helsindale Road in Whipple Corner, that they said the undercover police lied to Will that I was lying. He found out he didn't even watch a house tape. Well, I had witnesses. And when I talked to Will, my head was spinning. I forgot to tell him everything about the Water Shane guy. And he said I have to have a witness. I said, well, Sarah's ready to talk to you. Do you know Sarah told me she tried to call him several times, and he never returned her phone call. He sounds stupider and stupider. There was actually 3 witnesses. Do you know when you threaten somebody's life and you leave threats on their life, you can get 1 to 5 years. She could have even got for inducing panic. Is she in jail? No. Did she even get a slap on the hand? No. Why? Dave was threatening my life, Dixie and the babies and Josh, and then attempts on their life, tampering with their vehicles. I almost got shot driving, drugged the hell out, caught up on 12/21/18, got raped and tortured between July and September 19, and they sold logging. It's like common knowledge. And it's been a free fall at my expense. And what they're trying to say is other cops are covering up them aiding and abetting crimes of other cops out of their jurisdiction, breaking in people's home, committing burglary, with breaking in with and harming people, with stalking, drugs and kidnapping them, and then framing them. And we all know about the shower scene and the alter tapes, and that they're helping him. Okay? And by covering it up and looking the other way. And it's attempted extortion under false pretenses and attempt to murder and help and get away with it. Is that what they're saying? Is that what they're saying? Because I'll tell you what, we'll look stupider and stupider the way that they got away with this. And he called the wrong police station. I went to the Portage County Sheriff's. They didn't even know Will's case. They never gave anybody a quarter watch. Me? No. And Ravenna's denying the whole thing because I didn't live in their jurisdiction. It must have been the Portage County Sheriff's doing it to you. I go up there, they didn't know a thing. They didn't even know Will's case. It's undercover police. He called the wrong police station. They lied to him. He fell for the lies. And I had witnesses. It's like if he would have took and even got a private investigator, he would have said, Will, those dirty cops are bringing and entering people's homes, stalking them. They're drugging them up. You better get up there. There's a retired judge's daughter. They framed her. Get her out of there. He didn't care enough. He didn't care enough. Fourth Amendment. No searches, no seizures are warranted on personal property and items and things without oath or affirmation. Okay? So where they were in my home before, they already knew I called FBI. They already had Will's number. There was never staying quiet. Not one day. And he left me up there to die. And let these people have a free-for-all at my expense. I told you that cop that went to Dave made a statement after I talked to Will that he asked Dave about those people threatening me. And he better not put his hands on me till he finds out what's going on. He was the one at Liberty House here. The worst thing he ever did wrong, honey. June of 19, North Canton Jackson police were there. Everybody, and since they sold a lock and everybody knows it. Worst thing he did wrong, honey, is bend over properly. We can wipe that one out. They only made on the back of my knees. I told you. And he was one in Walmart. Will gave Karen no wrongdoing in life because she went abusive. It's not funny. None of this. And people harassing me and following me. I was found innocent in 2018. All the kids were caught lying because they wanted the house for Auntie Shell, giggling. All the police know they lied. And I don't think them stalking me in my home out of their jurisdiction. And them drugging me up before where I had giant bruises. They said they raised some guy named Chris out of the room and some other guys Bart. They said they were even choking me and beating me under drugs. And that's why I had hand marks in my arms, a cut on my leg, and giant bruises. I don't think it's funny that they were doing such heinous crimes and nobody's arrested them. Because since when can the cops become this stranger danger people? That they're kidnappers and druggers, extortionists, the ones that'll rape you, cut you up, that they'll stalk you in your home. Because real cops got a search warrant. I'll knock on the door and give you your Miranda rights. They have, when I talked to the Portage County Sheriffs, police and agencies can only be at home under a threat of life. Yeah. And I said they have to speak to everyone before they start. Yes. Because you got the right to remain quiet. And you have the right to be safe and secure in your own home. They can't take the Constitution away. And these people cannot just grab someone. You know, the guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, threatened to knife me at Dining Goal, he showed up in January 19. The What a Shame guy showed up last year. While they've been around acting like damn fools, the originals are still around me. They're just watching them torment me for them. It's not funny. None of this is. And if Will would have done his damn job and done it right, he had Dave in 10 days threatening Dixie and the baby's life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they had Katie out of the mall. If they would have arrested him, none of this would have happened. That would have been justice. Justice. In the way it's supposed to work. Now, everyone turning away while everybody's doing heinous crimes on people. Cops can't just go 10 miles out of their jurisdiction, break in private property and stalk that person. They can't break in and drug them up with amnesia drugs like they have sodium pentothal reports. Abuse them under drugs. Stalk them and Photoshop them and break that they did. And the local police know they did it. None of this is funny. And then the other ones look the other way while the other ones are committing heinous crimes. It's not funny. It's aiding and abetting them.